Right, we're back to a CB video. One of the subscribers has a Moonraker Master which has nothing. It is powering up, but there's no results. And I've managed to locate a circuit diagram which could have done with being printed A3, but we're having some building work done here, and I had to put the A3 printer into storage. So it's going to be quite interesting to see this. So some of this is going to be towards looking for that fault for him. Now this is actually a working set. This is one I serviced some years ago, and we did some range tests at the time. Went into open country with one of the vehicles with a 9-foot whip on it, and this Moonraker Major was the best range of any of the hand portables that we tried, and we managed to get 14 miles from the hand portable to the mobile. Now some of the other big 4-watt ones, the Binatone long range of 40 wasn't far behind, and of course some of the better realistics were not that far behind, but of course some of them are abysmal and do less than quarter of a mile. So this is the Moon. It's one of those sets which you wouldn't want to drop it, because that would be the end of it. So it might work well, but so okay, this is going to be what, 1985. So it's 35 years old now, and it's obviously been looked after. And I've owned it for about 15 years since I bought it off eBay. And you've got to make sure these telescopic aerials are absolutely 100%, because you're not going to get a replacement these days. So, and that's one of the things I was able to replace, because Knights at Curtain in Lindsay, Lincolnshire, did have them at that point. So I'm going to open this up. We've had to have a new oscilloscope on this bench. There's 2 oscilloscopes side by side, and one of the old Micronta oscilloscopes, one of the 9501s, which were made for Tandis by Hung Chang, actually packed up. I haven't looked into it, and I've bought I wanted to stay with a CRT oscilloscope. The very basic oscilloscopes on this bench, because we don't do diagnosis, just tuning up, so they only need to be, a little more than audio. Allegedly the oscilloscope I've bought from China is a 10 meg CRT oscilloscope. Can't even speak. It's an ST16C, and it was about £101 delivered. So and I didn't get clobbered for duty on that one. I've ordered 2. The other one hasn't arrived yet. So without further ado, I will open up the radio, which should be that screw there only, and let's just see. So this is a working set, but I will go through the tune-up for the sake of the video. So it's a matter of undoing that screw and then prizing this thing apart, releasing the top. Or is this one where you take the knobs off first? I don't know. It's so long since I did one. We'll pop the knobs off. It's a matter of not breaking it. There we go. And then the telescopic aerial unslots, and that's what you end up with. As you can see, it has got a screen plate there. So we'll pop the screen plate off. Do we have to unsolder that? Yeah, we have to unsolder the screen plate. So I'll pause the video. Back to record. I'm telling you all lies. We don't need to take the screen plate off. I've taken the top off. It's that screw, and then the chassis comes out. I'm thinking about those Alba CBH2s, was it, and the Harrier and the Harvard 410T, something like that. So on this radio it's done slightly differently. That's a double-sided board, and that could be where our subscriber's 8 volts is going missing, because it's not plated through like you'd get with a commercial or a computer type of board. It's just linked through, and you only need a dry joint and it's going to be not working. So well, I'm just going to work out a little chart of what we're going to do, and then I'll be back with you on the video. Okay, I've made up a chart of what adjustments are where, with my usual dreadful writing. So looking at it this way on, transformer 7, which is the final one for the transmit. Transformer, let's get that in camera shot. Transformer 8, I use the yellow tool. Transformer 8, which is the part of the transmit. Transformer 9, which is transmit. That's been sealed. Transformer 6 is part of transmit. Capacitor variable 1, CT1, is the frequency just for the reference crystal for the 10.24, which will bring it on or off frequency. And then, what else have we got? On receive, we've got transformer 1, transformer 2, transformer 3, and the detector is transformer 4, which is next to the IF filter there. And then the presets, RV1, which is the S meter, RV2, which is the squelch preset, RV3, which is vertical just there, is the TX meter, and then next to the mounting pillar down there vertically is deviation. So as far as the transmit goes, we're going to power this up. Remember to get my RCA adapter into there, and we'll get that into the test set. Right, so we're connected up to the test equipment, and if I just zoom out, you'll see that's on channel 20. So I'll go into transmit. It's awkward because you haven't got an external mic facility like some of the better handhelds. So we'll start with transformer 9. Now this is all awkward, isn't it? You've got to kind of hold that to one side, press transmit at the same time. And that's peaked. If you wonder why we've suddenly got the radio coming through, we have a background music system here, and on the hour there's 3 different radio tuners switch in for the news. One's on Radio 4, the other's on Radio Lincolnshire, and the third one's on BBC World Service. So that's what's just happened. I could have turned off the background music speaker in this room, but I failed to do so, so I will be competing with Radio 4 at the moment. So that's done those 2 to peak. So that's transformer 9, transformer 8, so now transformer 7. And transformer 7 is now peaked. So that's, of course, the set was working, so that's what we expected. Now I'm going to check the deviation. So now, having waited for the news to go off the background music system, we were going to do the deviation, and I know this is set up right, but I'll use the little audio oscillator. We'll press transmit, put that over the microphone, and the microphone is there. That's actually over the top. So I'll just back that off a bit with the RV4. There we go, 2.5. We'll just check with the whistle test. There we go. So that's fine. So that's deviation set. So I'll put this panel, I'll screw this back on. It's 1, 2, 3 screws. The 3 machine screws there. I inadvertently took those 2 out, which you shouldn't do. So I'll just pause the video, and before I put that back, I'll just make sure it's on frequency. So I'm looking at channel 20, which should be 2779125. It's 2779119, so that's fine. But the adjustment, we just zoom into that. It's just down there. Just move that the slightest fraction, press transmit again. That's the wrong way. 79116. And that's miles the other way. That's it, 79129. So there we are. They drift down naturally with age. So right, now I'll put that cut that display board back on. So the final thing to do on the transmitter is quite simply to set the transmit output on the bar graph there. So we're going to make sure we're on high power, whichever that is. Now one of these is channel 9, that's that one. I think that's high-low power, so that's the low power one, so that's the high power one. And it's showing 2. Well, we want it to show, it's because it's doing 3.5 watts. We just want that to show that. So back to my crib sheet, and transmit power is RV3. RV3 is the one on its side, just there. So I'll press transmit. The feedback there is also coming through our background system. So 3 is the maximum it wants to show with that power output. Bear in mind your power supply needs to be set for 12 volts, not 13.8. These radios are 12 volts maximum, and I'm sure that most of you will know. And I'll just unplug the aerial so I can show you this. In fact, I'll switch the power off. You've got slots here for 10 batteries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you're using rechargeable batteries, it's 10. If you're using throwaway batteries, you need to get 2 dummy batteries and put 8 in. So the logic there is that 10 batteries at 1.2 volts, as rechargeables are, equal 12 volts, or 8 batteries, which are throwaway batteries, alkaline, are 1.5 volts. 1.5 times 8 is also 12. So if you put 10 throwaway batteries in, you'd end up running it at 15 volts and it would blow the PA. So that is a promise. But if you're new to this and you don't know about these kind of handhelds, then when there's 10, it's a 12 volt product, you always make sure you put the dummy batteries in, and they are available. You can look on eBay and find them. And in fact, I've got a dummy battery there on the bench, so that would just slot in the space. Usually put them at the bottom there, and you'd have 2 of those in, so they're easily gettable. So that actually covers the transmit. Now I'm just going to look at this 8 volt business, and we'll add that onto this video right now. Right, so I've looked at the 8 volt rail. It's kind of an 8.9 volt rail on this. It's got a 9.1 volt Zener. So looking at the circuit here, you have, just make sure my thumb's on the circuit there, diode 17 there, is a 9.1 volt Zener. So you've got a capacitor there, an electrolytic capacitor, 47 microfarads. Now if that was short circuit, the 9.1 volt Zener would be shorted out, so you'd have no results. So that's always a possibility. So in reality, when we look at the radio, that diode, it's difficult to get in position on this bench, too much clutter. It's just there, mounted vertically. So if I get my meter into shot as well, like that, I'll put the negative prod just to chassis, and I'll put the positive prod on that Zener, which is diode 17, and you'll see I've got 8.72 on that, and that, if you've got a dead set, it could be a very good reason why. I say that capacitor, which is number capacitor 35. Capacitor 35 is right next to it. So, because you'd have to unsolder the shield from underneath and change that capacitor. Chances are that's what would be wrong. Of course, Zeners can fail as well, but they're only about 9p. So that wraps up the transmit side of the Moonraker Master Hand Portable from around 1985. So we will do a receive side, and thank you for watching.